Well, good morning, YouTube. All right, guys, this is what, Wednesday morning now? I've started to lose track of the days, but yeah, I believe it's Wednesday morning. It's not even morning, guys. It's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We slept in a little bit today because we were so exhausted from the night before. We got this really cool truck park next to us. I don't know, see, I'm getting sidetracked now. Anyway, Katie and I handling some business this morning. I just got off the phone with Cliff over at Cook Brothers, the guys that are building the drive line for me. So they have received that special order part that we had to ship in yesterday, overnighted it, and he's in the process of welding it up now. He just got back from lunch, he's welding it, he's gonna balance it, and he says hopefully by 2:30 or so, he should be finished with it. Then he's got to arrange delivery to get it back over to us. Also, I talked with Andre this morning, and he is gonna head out here and help me put it in, because sometimes having a second pair of hands with something this heavy would definitely be convenient. If not, I could probably got it with some ratchet straps and create some rigging. But for now, Katie and I are gonna go inside. We're gonna get some breakfast and get some coffee, because we haven't eaten or drank anything yet this morning. So that's the goal for now. Here's this opportunity to take our laundry in, get it done while we're waiting. All right, guys, it is about 4 o'clock. We had breakfast. Andre showed up to help. Katie got all the laundry done, and I've been sitting at the table doing a whole bunch of emails and order preparation. So yeah, I had a little over 100 emails to go through, and trying to get orders situated, you know, coordinating with Michaela at home for both Lovejugs and for us. Still working on a bunch of other things too, so it's kind of nice to have that little bit of downtime. But the shop just called me. They just finished up with the balancing, and they loaded it into the truck for delivery. Called me a couple of minutes ago and said that the driver is about 10 minutes out. So we're heading back out to Goliath now so we can get prepared to reinstall it. Well, guys, that was perfect timing. We walked right back up to Goliath with the laundry, and Cook Brothers is here with our delivery. Well, guys, there we go. Nice and pretty and new. Now we're gonna air the truck up so we can have enough room to crawl underneath there again, and we'll get to installing this. Also, guys, we got the new yoke piece to go on the differential. This is the piece that was broken that we had to special order in overnight. Probably one of the most expensive parts of the whole system. So we've got the drive shaft mostly under the truck. Got all of our parts. Go down there, put it in. All right, guys, well, Andre's proving to be more than helpful. We've got the carrier bearing side in and lined up. We're just installing the bolts to tighten it up, and then we'll move down and do that in after we put on that piece. All right, so Andre just got the new yoke piece set in. Now we've got to get the washer on and the bolt, get it all torqued down, and then we can drop it into the drive shaft in, and this job may be finished. Well, then we just got to grease everything. And by the way, guys, Andre is actually a certified diesel heavy equipment mechanic. That's what he did over in the Ukraine before he moved over here to the United States. So he's no stranger to this kind of work. All right, guys, not too bad. It's only 5:01. Remember, it was 4 o'clock when we were walking out of the truck stop, and the part hadn't even gotten here yet, and it's installed. The only thing left to do is grease it, and I thought I had my grease gun in the truck, because remember, I greased Goliath before we left. But I think that right out of the dually, and I think I took it home and threw it in the shop instead of throwing it in the trailer. I thought I put it in the trailer, but you know what? Sometimes my brain don't work as good as I think it should. So I'm running over to the TA service center here. You can see if they'll let me borrow a grease gun. Now, he said he greased it on assembly, but if it were him, he'd put more grease in it once it was assembled, because if you over grease it, he said it'd be really hard for me to get the caps on. So hopefully these guys will help us out. Let's borrow a grease gun. I guess worst case scenario, I can schedule a time for them to grease it, but I really don't want to wait around for that. So let's go check it out. Looks like a 389X. All right, guys, we're leaving the TA service center now, and I got Zach with us. They wouldn't actually let me borrow the grease gun, but they let me borrow an employee. So he's gonna go out there and help us out. Yeah, it actually makes it easier for us, but we're gonna get it all greased up, and then this job should be done, and we might be ready to get back on the road. All right, guys, there Zach goes, walking back to the shop. He was really awesome. He crawled underneath there, greased everything for us. I think it's all done, ready to go. So we're gonna start cleaning up the tools. Andre's gotta get back on the road to head out towards Philly, and I've gotta clean up. I'm gonna definitely take a shower again before I get on the road. And we need a little bit more time to let traffic die down anyways, and then maybe we'll just drive through the night. All right guys, Andre is gone. I've got all the tools cleaned up, but now I gotta get the motorcycle back in, so we just kind of let it roll forward in the spot a little bit to give myself a little bit of room back here so I can drop the tailgate, load the motorcycle. I'm gonna back it back into a spot and go take a shower. All right, she's back in there, snug as a bug, all strapped down and ready to go. Now, clothes are all up, shower time. Well guys, I went in to take a shower, and they had a 40-minute wait on showers, and that was approximate. That was assuming that people showered in the time they estimated they would. I didn't want to wait that long. So luckily this Petro has that pretty good hand cleaner stuff in the men's room. So I went in there and I basically washed my head, my face, my arms in the sink, and then stepped into a stall and changed my clothes, and I feel clean. I feel like I showered, so I guess that's gonna have to be good enough, but I just didn't want to wait. So got some coffee, some road snacks, and I think we're gonna head out. Looky there, guys. Goliath moving in its own power. Definitely a good thing. Well, guys, we didn't make it real far. We basically just got on the highway. I could hear something rattling, didn't know what it was, so I'm trying to figure that out. But then also when I went to slow it down, I realized that the brakes aren't working right. So Goliath really didn't want to stop very well, and then when we did get it off to the side, I could smell brakes burning. So what I believe is happening is the front drums are pretty hot, the rears are not. I think that only the front drums are activating, and that's not enough. I mean, on a semi-truck, your front brakes are a very small part of your braking ability. Almost all of it comes from trailer brakes and drive brakes. So maybe one of those lines that got reversed. I thought that the two 3/8 lines went to the airbags, but possibly I got them switched and maybe they just need to be reversed. Because all the lines were repaired, but there were two that were identical and almost impossible to tell which one went to what. So I just kind of guessed and everything worked to get it off of the road. So right now I've chalked the tires. I'm gonna call Katie and have her release the brakes. I'm gonna go down there and see what's happening when she's actuating, and if need be, I'll disconnect those lines and switch them real quick. All right, so I had Katie release the parking brake, and all of the brakes actually disengaged like they should. And in fact, the truck rolled back just a tiny bit until it nestled against the stop that I put in its place, so that's good. However, when she applied the brake, I could hear a huge hissing noise down there. One of the lines that I repaired, I guess there's a little bit of damage just past where I repaired it. So I'm gonna go ahead and shorten it up and see if I can't fix it again. So it turns out I found out two spots that were leaking on the brake signal line. So when you apply the pedal, it sends an air signal back to the brake relay, and then that allows the air pressure from the main supply to then be distributed to the actual brake chambers themselves. And with it leaking, I guess it was just like bleeding off enough pressure that it wasn't applying enough pressure because it wasn't receiving as strong of a signal from the actual treadle valve. So hopefully that's fixed. Now there are no leaks down there that I can hear. I didn't figure out what the rattle that I heard was. It doesn't do it when we're not moving. It's only doing it when we're moving. It's not engine related. I threw the truck in neutral and revved the throttle and it didn't change, but going down the road, it almost sounds like just something metal that's rattling. It could be like a loose bracket or something, but I've checked everything and I can't find it. But I'm starting to know exactly why I wasn't able to get into the shower. something in the universe beyond my comprehension knew I had to crawl underneath this truck again. No, and I just happened to look down on the ground. Look what I found. Anybody recognize that? That's a Harley Davidson touring bike muffler bracket. The one that goes through the rubber mount in the very back of the bike. It supports the muffler underneath the saddlebag. Throw it in the trailer. Might come in handy someday. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and get back on the road, test the brakes. I'll listen to see if I hear that rattle again. I don't think the two are related. You know, there's all kinds of rattles on this thing, and it may be nothing, but it just seemed new or more consistent. Like, I hear rattles when we hit bumps, but this was just kind of cruising down the road. There was a rattle, so don't know what it is. But I also just noticed that we stopped at a pretty cool spot. There's like some military memorial type park or something right here. So check it out. Tanks, helicopters, even a fort. Well, from that other angle, you couldn't see the tank very well, but there it sits.
Knock the shit out of somebody. Who wants the teeth knocked out? I'm found some guys. Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys, it looks like there's a car fire up the ways. Here, let me adjust this a little bit.
Southbound, if you got your ears on, you're rolling up to a bunch of brake lights. We've got a four-wheeler on fire about mile marker 3. Interstate's currently closed while they deal with it.
Yeah, you know what? Kind of handy having the CB on there, because I heard them say it just before I saw all the brake lights, so I had already started to slow down some. Now we're at mile marker like 4 or 5 or something, so we're not
3.5.
3.5. Yeah, so it's got to be right here. It must have just happened. So we're gonna sit this out, and chances are we ain't going anywhere for a little while. They say they've actually got the interstate completely shut down while they deal with it. So,
Yay.
but the drive shaft seems to be doing really, really good. I mean, we've gone what 80 miles, 90 miles, something like that. Not even. Hey guys, we're only stopped for about 5 minutes, and now we're kind of creeping forward. We're almost to the Virginia line. Guys, we stopped in Virginia at exit 273. Once again, same Sheetz fuel stop that we stopped on the way to Laconia. Once again, it's the cheapest place to get fuel, and it's time to pee. Maybe grab a couple more road snacks, maybe a burrito or something. I don't know. But even at what time is it? Yeah, but even at 11:15 at night, this place is packed. Got people double parked. I'm hoping I can even maneuver through here once we get our fuel. Because over here, they're like 3 wide against the curb that says no parking. Hi guys, and Ike Stevens. We got ourselves another bonehead trucker here. If you look behind me, that white Volvo, just sitting there hanging out, and there's nobody in front of him. In fact, there's nobody even up at the front pump. Another bonehead hanging out, not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I'm just doing a quick walk around, checking everything. Everything's looking good while we're fueling up. I can't pull forward yet anyways because there's still a truck in front of me, and it sounds like my pump just shut off. So let me finish this up. All right guys, well, I got done fueling and I moved up, went to the bathroom. Katie's still grabbing our snacks, and Yeah, bonehead in the Volvo, still hanging him. Oh, look, did he just wake up or something? I don't know. But it's good. Been a good 10 or 15 minutes. He's been hanging out back there. Beautiful Kenworth here. And down there we got a Pretty Pete. All right, guys, and check out that Freightliner. Looking sweet. Very sweet. Katie seems to be taking an awful while, so since I'm pulled forward, I'm gonna go check on her real quick. All right, guys, as soon as I walk in the door, she calls me. Oop, looking for me. Yep, go ahead, sir. Gotcha. Okay. There you go. Go ahead. Thank you. Yeah, so anyway, she called me looking for me. We must have missed each other as I did a walk around on the truck. All right, so we'll get moving so we're not holding up the truck behind us. Hi guys, I went and talked to the driver behind me. He's still got fuel nozzles in his tanks and the hood is up on his truck. But I told him that if he was done and ready to go and I hadn't moved yet, he just flashed his lights at me and I'll at least pull out to let him out. So I'm gonna try to eat the burrito while I'm sitting here. Well guys, I think pretty good timing. I just finished a burrito, wiping my hands clean, and the driver behind me just hung up his fuel pumps and put his hood down. Now, he hasn't flashed his lights at me and he's ready to go. But I think I'm ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and start moving forward. Well, as soon as that parking lot gets past us, I will. All right guys, and before I pull out, I just wanna do like a little PSA, just a little bit of a courtesy thing. You see this driver in front of me to the left, got his headlights on. Got another driver over there with his headlights on. A couple of them are just running parking lights, and that's okay. But if you're sitting in the truck stop, turn your headlights off. If you're pulling through the truck stop, turn your headlights off. If you're at the fuel pumps getting fuel and you're pointed at a row of trucks like this, turn your headlights off. Mine are off. That way you're not blinding the other drivers. Not that you can tell, I think, with all the rain, but well, good morning, YouTube. Hi guys, what is it, Thursday morning now? Yeah, I think it's Thursday morning. We just woke up. It's actually noon. It's right about noon. We just woke up about 10-15 minutes ago. We pulled in here to this truck stop this morning around, I don't know, 3:34. I think I climbed in bed at 4. We are exit 101 in Virginia. Didn't get as far as I'd originally planned last night, but I'm starting to get tired. But more so, Katie was really tired and wanted to stop. I really wanted to get through Whiteville and up 77 and at least down into North Carolina before we stopped. But that didn't happen. Luckily, we pulled into this smaller truck stop, and there was room to park, and I was struggling trying to get the angle right to pull on the end row. Anyway, a driver came over the radio and said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to pull out if you need a place to park that big thing." I said, "Well, I appreciate that, sir." And he told me exactly where he was, and I kind of got in position, and he pulled out. I pulled straight and backed it right in. So, you know, raining, visibility was not good, and it's a fairly dark parking lot. So it was challenging, but luckily he was nice enough to give us a spot. All right, I got some coffee. While I'm waiting for Katie to get ready, I'm gonna do a quick walk around, quick pre-trip. You know, we didn't talk a lot after we left the side of the road and I had to fix the brake lines again, the air lines. It's actually the signal line from the treadle valve. I mentioned that we had a rattle and I couldn't figure out where the rattle was coming from. Got back on the highway, the rattle was still there. We ended up pulling over again at a rest area just a few miles up the road. And again, I changed my clothes, I climbed underneath Goliath trying to find it. And I found a couple things that possibly could have been the noise, but I didn't really feel confident that it was the noise. And I took some measures to like stop them from rattling. In fact, I've got one shim on the inner suspension. The shim just kind of rattles in there sometimes, but it's always been like that. And didn't really think that was the problem. So what I did is I took a couple zip ties and just like weaseled the tips of zip ties in between there and zipped them down pretty tight and everything just to stop the rattle. And of course, got back up on the highway. It was still rattling. I couldn't figure out what it was. But at that point, because I thoroughly inspected everything that was critical, I was pretty confident that it was just something dumb and not something that was like a safety related item. It almost sounded like there was a piece of metal dragging on the ground. But below 25 mile an hour, you couldn't hear it at all. And there was obviously nothing dragging on the ground. Well, when we stopped to get fuel at the Sheets, which is right around midnight when we pulled out of there, I realized there's something that was a little bit loose. And I wasn't positive it was the culprit. So anyway, I grabbed a ratchet and I tightened it up. And after that, no more noise. So I think it was. Never gonna guess what it was. Take a guess, guys. It was that little guy right there. He had come loose and was vibrating like at a certain speed. He would just sit there and shake and rattle. And on that aluminum step, it sounded terrible. Yeah, never would have guessed that our little biker guy would have caused that much noise. But once I tightened him up, all the noise went away. So I'm hoping that I was right and that was it. Guys, we've made it back into North Carolina now. What's kind of funny though is as we were climbing up the Fancy Gap there on 77, truck coming up beside us chimed in on the CB radio. A gentleman named Wade, who's a subscriber, follows the channel. He goes, "Is that Goliath I see up there?" Or something to that effect. So we had a really good conversation. By the way, Wade, beautiful, absolutely beautiful Kenworth. It's a shame it's so rainy today. We're not getting a whole lot of footage, but we're getting home. That's what matters. So we just stopped at a pilot here. About 10 miles east of Old Fort, North Carolina. I forget the actual exit number, but we're at 78 now, so it was probably 79 or 80, somewhere right there. We're going to put that on our list of truck stops not to stop at again unless we don't have a choice. Very difficult parking lot to maneuver with Goliath. All the trucks coming in from the interstate had to do a U-turn to get into it, and as you guys know, Goliath does not like U-turns. And then even trying to get out, some of the pumps you would have to make like an S-turn to get out, where Goliath wouldn't have had the turn radius. And then to top it all off, when you get back onto the interstate, it's a steady uphill climb. I couldn't even get out of 6th gear trying to get up the ramp and just had to hold it there for like a mile or so You guys remember when I said I didn't have my grease gun? There it is. I had it. Well, guys, 7:44 p.m. and we're home. Goliath did pretty good coming home. Everything else went fine after those couple of fixes we had to do. The weather has been relatively miserable the whole way. A few times it stopped raining, but only for about 5 minutes or so. And especially coming through Asheville is when it started to get ugly. And we did hit a bunch of traffic in Asheville as well, which slowed us down some. Not really stop and go, but very, very slow roll. Hey guys, I do want to apologize if this one is a little on the long side. When we stopped last night at the truck stop, or I should say early this morning, I thought about closing the video then, but then I would have felt kind of obligated to edit it and put it up, and I just didn't feel like doing it. So normally we don't do 2 days in a journey all in one video. So I kept the footage to a minimum today, and hopefully it doesn't make it too awfully long with it being combined with yesterday's footage. But we made it home safe. I really want to thank Andre for coming out and helping me put the drive shaft in. He was well out of his way, and it was very kind of him to do so. And I also want to thank Cliff over at Cook Brothers Driveline. You know, he did a fantastic job on the drive shaft. You guys saw how nice that was. Everything fit perfect. In fact, I meant to call him today and tell him how awesome everything fit, and I completely forgot to. So I'm gonna put that on my list of things to do tomorrow, to call and give him my gratitude as well. But guys, we're gonna close this one here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And until the next time we see you, keep those engines running. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, remember a couple days ago on Monday, the day that we left the Boston Trucker, we stopped at the one service plaza on I-90, and I installed the CB radio and so on and so forth. Well, while we were there, I had to kind of parallel park up against the Jersey barrier, and I misjudged it, and I boo-booed my corner. Look at that. It's not terrible. Like, that's how close I was to missing it. All it did is tear the trim off. It didn't actually hurt the structure of the trailer any, but it peeled my trim back and took off a little piece of my awning rail. I have more awning rail, but you know, I get mad at myself when I make dumb mistakes like that. I should have got out and looked, but I couldn't see this corner of the trailer because Goliath was pitched to the driver's side. So I was trying to judge that side of the trailer in line with the truck that I was backing into, and I was wrong. Looks like an easy fix though.